Jose Mourinho is no longer the coach of a team from the top 5 European leagues. Fans around the world fondly remember his candid press conferences. For example, when he said that Manchester United's second-place finish in the 2017-18 season was one of the best achievements of his career. But at the time, his words were not taken seriously. In his final year at United, 2018, he gave an emotional speech about the legacy and fate of many players who had recently left the club. As time would tell, his words proved prophetic. Years later, the careers of many of those players declined. His time at the club was marked by high expectations and unfulfilled hopes. Everyone knows that Manchester United has been going through a rough patch lately. After Sir Alex Ferguson left in 2013, a situation that initially seemed unstable turned into a serious problem 10 years later. Since then, many different figures have led the club, but no one left a mark like Mourinho. He held a managerial position for 2.5 years, and his contribution to the club's development was noticeable. However, the last 6 months of his decade-long career were overshadowed by the fact that he would often come out of the locker room and speak harsh truths that were not well received by the club. Today, we intend to move away from stereotypes and look at the situation objectively. We will try to understand how successful Mourinho was compared to his predecessors and successors. And most importantly, we will assess the extent to which the club itself was the cause of its decline, rather than any of the managers. Many believe that United's problems began after Sir Alex left, but if you look more closely, you can see that the first signs of decline appeared in the final years of his leadership. In Sir Alex's last years, the club seemed to have achieved stability and self-confidence. This led them to take their success for granted. Jamie Carragher once said that Sir Alex's only mistake was that he misjudged the greatness of the club he had built. To some extent, this is true, since he could not have foreseen how difficult it would be to find a replacement and maintain such high standards. At the time, the club's CEO was David Gill, who had been with the club for 16 years until he resigned alongside Sir Alex. In 2013, he was replaced by Woodward, and this decision was ill-timed. The new leader had no clear plan to rebuild the team. After Moyes' tenure, Van Gaal was given significant resources for his project but failed to achieve the desired results. In May 2016, he won the FA Cup, but just 2 days later, he was replaced by the special one. Mourinho had always had a flamboyant reputation. In the summer of 2016, when Jose's move to United was announced, fans were full of optimism. However, not everyone shared this view. Some believed he didn't fit the club's philosophy, while others criticized his tactics as overly cautious. The failures of the previous two managers pushed the club to choose a proven winner. They needed a champion. According to Mourinho, he faced many obstacles on the road to success. He used a pragmatic approach to outperform his rivals. In the league, the team won 17 matches and drew 15. The number of draws suggests the team was not always confident in their abilities. In November 2016, Mourinho's United finished 6th in the table, picking up just 20 points from the first 13 matches. That was the worst start for the Red Devils in the Premier League era, even worse than Moyes' and Van Gaal's lowest first-season totals, 22 points. In the summer of 2017, the club had an active transfer campaign, signing new players like Lukaku and Lindelof. This improved the squad, and by December, the board was ready to offer Mourinho a new contract. The club's leadership publicly expressed support for the manager, stating that he had been chosen for the long term. However, Mourinho began to look constantly irritated during matches, and at press conferences he seemed tired, not energetic as usual. Despite this, in January 2018, he received a new contract. Perhaps this contract allowed Mourinho to feel more secure in his role, as he continued to deliver solid results. In April 2018, United impressively defeated City, coming back from 0-2 down thanks to a brace from Paul Pogba, which allowed the club to secure a top-4 finish. By the end of the season, United finished second, while also booking a place at Wembley for the FA Cup final against Chelsea. A solid achievement, but let's not forget the Devils overachieved. Few top clubs could truly compete with them due to the rebuilding phase affecting most of the Big Six. Mourinho was also clearly unhappy with many players. Conflicts continued. He said the team lacked strong personalities. Mourinho bluntly stated that players who weren't getting enough playing time, such as Martial and Luke Shaw, failed to show consistency and reliability. In 2018, Pogba went to Russia, where he became a World Cup champion with the French national team. Throughout the tournament, he delivered outstanding performances. Mourinho noted that it had been the perfect tournament for the player, as he was completely focused on football without distractions. Soon, the third season under the Portuguese coach was about to begin, but tension was brewing in the locker room. Due to his constant demands for new players, he also clashed with the scouting department. By the way, back then Mourinho asked the board to sign Harry Maguire from Hull City, but they refused, only to break the transfer record a couple of years later to sign the same Englishman, but from Leicester. This shows that the Portuguese and United's management had very different views on the transfer market. That summer, Fred and Dalot joined the club. However, the manager claimed he had a list of much more serious candidates. Mourinho persistently demanded a new center back, but the board hesitated. After yet another transfer window in which Mourinho didn't get the squad he wanted, he was disappointed. The same recurring issues with the club's management continued to plague him. After 3 defeats, including a loss to Spurs at home, the heaviest of Jose's career, Mourinho came under intense pressure. The next day, he held one of his most memorable press conferences. He demanded respect and compared the number of his Premier League titles to those of the other 19 managers combined. In September, a new conflict broke out between Pogba and other players, one that had likely been brewing for a long time. Behind the scenes, players expressed frustration that the team lacked attacking decisiveness and that they didn't understand why they couldn't play more aggressively. This was a clear reference to Mourinho's pragmatism. Pogba was stripped of the vice-captaincy, and a public falling out ensued. Manchester United started the season worse than ever in recent years, and the head coach continued to express dissatisfaction with the players' mentality. In October, the league match against Newcastle was seen as a turning point for Mourinho. The team was losing 0-2, but eventually won the game, scoring 3 goals. Still, the Portuguese's seat kept shaking, and in December, Mourinho was finally sacked. With each new season, we begin to understand more clearly. Mourinho's Europa League win and his second-place finish remain the best results of the Red Devils in the post-Ferguson era. Even more importantly, some of his harsh statements about the club have been proven true over time. After that, Mourinho coached clubs like Tottenham and Roma, and now he works in Turkey with Fenerbahce. But it's clear that his tenure at Manchester United is greatly underrated. He overachieved, and no one since has been able to achieve the same results with the team.